The day when the sea showed its full strength. Caught on camera, a rare chance to see what actually happens when the coastline collapses.
Sections of the Norfolk coast are regularly falling into the sea. The cliffs at Haysborough have been particularly badly affected. Some experts believe sea defence work in some areas causes problems elsewhere. Others say dredging of the North Sea is a major factor.
You cannot take substance from the sea without having impact on the coastline. Where once the sand used to go in the winter and come back in the summer, it no longer does. It's going all the time now, because that being taken by the dredgers is erosive upon our shoreline to naturally replace that which has been taken. And we're looking, well, they've just had another licence to dredge another 7.5 million tonnes of sand off Great Yarmouth. They've already taken over 30 million tonnes there.
It's a cliffhanger that's unlikely to end happily. Not inches, but feet of exposed and vulnerable sections of the North Norfolk coastline are quite literally being lost to the sea. It's the combination of high tides and strong northerly winds that are battering this coastline and causing the erosion. And it was that combination on Sunday that forced residents living on the edge in Haysborough to prepare to evacuate. Residents here are angry and frustrated at what they see as the government's inaction and stooge-like unwillingness to offer compensation. The government's responded in a statement saying, except in limited circumstances, no compensation is payable to those affected by flooding or erosion. Vulnerable residents living along the coast won't be left homeless. The North Norfolk District Council says it will rehouse anyone forced to evacuate.
We really do hope that it doesn't, but unfortunately we're standing here and looking and we can't see that there's much alternative at the moment, but we will put it off as long as we possibly can.
With more high tides predicted during the festive season, all the people here can do is hope the weather doesn't bring them any unwelcome surprises. Maria Veronese, BBC Look East, Haysborough.
Here in Suffolk, the sea's encroaching more rapidly than anywhere else on the east coast. The town of Southwold is barricaded to the hilt, but the defences stop short of this farm at Eastern Bavance, where Peter Boggess has spent most of his life.
Since 1947, in this immediate area, we have lost 11 houses and over 200 metres of land. Even this past winter, we lost 8 metres. And it's a very sad thing because this could all be prevented. The Dutch succeed in protecting their country from the sea. Why can't we?
For centuries, fishing has been at the heart of communities up and down our coast. But it's an industry in decline, and fishermen blame part of the demise on the increasing demand for aggregates. Rodney and Graham Burns have fished off the Suffolk coast for over 30 years. Earning a living has become harder and harder. Gone are the days when their boat returned full to the gunnels. On a good day, they'll catch a couple of boxes of dab, skate and sole.
About 15 or 20 years ago, they dredged a large area off Orford Lighthouse, about 8 miles square, and we've had no fish in that area whatsoever since that time. And it's not going to recover now if it hasn't recovered after 15 years. There's no way that ground has ever fished the same since they've come out of that area. No way whatsoever. That was a brilliant piece of fishing ground. Messed up, devastated.
Dredging off the east coast is nothing new. Scores of licences have been granted for zones offshore since the 1970s. Millions of tonnes of sand and gravel have been extracted. And more zones are planned to meet the demand for aggregates from the construction industry. While a small proportion of the material dredged last year was used to construct sea defences such as those at Sea Palling in Norfolk, about a third was exported to Holland, Belgium and France. With concern about our vanishing coastline at an all-time high, the dredgers have never been under greater pressure to prove they're not making matters even worse. The industry acknowledges that sea life does suffer when dredging is underway, but claims fish stocks make a full recovery after 5 years. But many regard the system of granting licences as too cosy, and they're calling for reform.
Some of the European countries won't allow dredging within their bases, so I believe we should cease that immediately as far as the export is concerned, and that will save some of the seabed. We've seen severe coastal erosion, and I believe some of that effect has come from, over the years, from the dredging of the aggregates.
I believe that we ought to look very quickly at some of the fears that people have got. Where the fishermen have put forward specific examples, then some more research needs to be done. I'm much more worried, I think, about its effect upon the way the tides work, how it affects our coast. I've got 74 miles of coastline, all of it exposed to the growing storms, the higher sea levels, which come from global warming. So we're in particular difficulties anyway. To make it worse, if that is what is happening, would be devastating. And so I do think there's a great need for urgent work to be done.
I cannot understand the government wanting to take great big chunks of the North Sea when all they're on about to us is preserving fish stocks, and they're taking perfectly good feeding grounds away from the fish. Don't make sense.
For years, the effects of marine dredging have remained hidden beneath the waves. Only now is the quest to reveal the truth gaining momentum. Richard Daniel for the East at Westminster.